Now, this can be okay where you're fully aware of where these different permissions have been applied, but as your environment gets large, as the number of different administrators are creating GPOs and creating configurations and limiting those GPOs, you might find that actually any of these settings that end up in the delegation tab may be easily lost as opposed to easy to find later on. And so perhaps denying or allowing this particular GPO through the use of a group is not the best way to approach it. So let's take a different approach towards how we can get this VPN settings GPO to apply into the correct locations. Let me instead remove this deny permission down here, because let's not go through actually applying this in this way. And instead, what I want to do is actually apply these VPN settings more specifically to the machines who would make use of those settings. Now let's think about that very specifically, right? The machines that would have need for VPN settings are probably going to be those that are laptops, for example. Also, the machines that need these VPN settings are probably not going to be servers. They may be instead Windows desktops. So what we need to do is define a way to identify the laptops that happen to be running, for example, Windows 8 as opposed to Windows Server 2012 R2. That application of GPOs by characteristic as opposed to by security group is something that can be accomplished down here under WMI filtering. Now let me come down here to our list of WMI filters, and I want to show you that when we did those direct access configurations back a couple of courses ago, the creation of those GPOs that the direct access service did for us actually went through and created an individual WMI filter that automatically ensures that we're only getting these direct access configurations to laptops and to the laptops that are of specific operating system SKUs. It's over here where we can take a look at, well, PC system site type equals 2, and then operating system SKU equals all these different numbers. The hard part about these different WMI filters is in identifying exactly what information you want to extract out of WMI so that you can then insert it into a WMI filter. And the process to do this in too great a detail is perhaps a conversation for another day. But what I do want to show you is a PowerShell command that'll let you inventory WMI for the settings of which you're interested in. Let's come down here back to PowerShell. And if I bring up the little PowerShell command prompt here, the command I want to show you is GWMI, and then some area, some WMI class that we're interested in inventorying. There are a variety of these WMI classes, and in fact, if you just Google around for the list of WMI classes, there are different tools you can use to enumerate the classes and figure out what they are. But I just want to show you a couple of those classes and the content that's contained within those classes so that you can use it to potentially create your own WMI filters. The first class I want to show you is Win32 Computer System, which, if I just hit the Enter key here, will show you just a couple of pieces of information about this particular machine. That being the domain, where it's in, the manufacturer of the machine, the model, the name of the computer, the primary owner name, and then how much physical memory is currently attached to this machine. If I run this and I do it to a format list for a star here, I can show you even more information about this computer. So this gives me just some basic information about the computer, that the manufacturer is VMware because it's a VMware virtual machine, that there's one logical processor, there's one physical processor, the hypervisor is currently present on the machine, there's its DNS host name and its domain role. Some of this information occasionally can require some sleuthing to figure out what these numerical values may mean. So you may need to dig around through your favorite search engine to try to figure out exactly what these values correspond with. But this just gives you some good information about this specific computer that you could then use to translate into a WMI query. Let's look at another couple of WMI classes here. Another one is GWMI. So get WMI, Win32 BIOS, get some BIOS information. So the manufacturer, name, serial number, and version of the BIOS. I can also do GWMI Win32 operating system to get information about the operating system and version. Note here that the operating system for this version, which is Windows Server 2012 R2, is actually 6.3 or 6.3.9600. So it's here where you can gather information in order to be able to construct that WMI query that will allow us to tailor down to specifically the types of machines we're looking for. Now let's say, for example, that we know that the model that we're looking for is a Dell laptop. And anytime we have a Dell laptop as the model name, then we know that we want to apply this VPN GPO. Let's go back to, and if I clear the screen here, let's go back to get WMI Win32 Computer System, And then let's select out the model here from that query. Now ours says VMware Virtual Platform here, but let's say instead that we're looking for something that says Dell Laptop. That information we can use in crafting our own WMI query down here, WMI filter down here, by choosing New. Let's call this Dell Laptop. And then for the query, here for the root/sim_v2 namespace, which is the namespace where all these different queries we've been looking at so far come from, let's create the following query. Select star from win32_computer system where the model is like Dell Laptop. Now, in your situation, it's fairly unlikely that your model is going to be just Dell Laptop. There's probably going to be one or more different kinds of Dell laptops that you might want to capture. So this obviously is not a functioning example. If I hit OK here, I'll get a little error message that's easily ignorable. You'll probably get this error message also when you create your own WMI filters. But this gives us at least the first filter we can use to kind of tailor down exactly where we want this GPO to go. Let us now create a second query that will further filter down to specifically the Windows 8 machines that happen to be Dell laptops. Let's come back here to add, and in my case, let's do select star from Win32 operating system, where the caption of the operating system is like Microsoft Windows 8. And then I'll terminate this with the % character, which is a wildcard here with these WMI queries. Finish it up with a quote and then the close parentheses there to create this second query that would then further filter down to just specifically Dell laptops that happen to be running Microsoft Windows 8. Once we conclude this, we can hit the Save button here and go back to our Configure VPN Settings GPO and now attach it here to the Dell Laptop WMI filter that we just configured. Now again, whereas this example is a bit contrived, this at least gives you the information you need to begin creating your own WMI queries. It's all about figuring out the characteristics of the machines to where you want to apply the GPO, and then sleuthing around inside your favorite search engine to figure out in which WMI class and in which value the information is then contained.